Hello, my name is Tom Coughlin. I'm a storyteller. Actually, I'm a Shawnee, a traditional Irish storyteller. My people come from County Cork in a place called Ballydehob beyond Skibbereen. But today, or tonight, and soon will be dark, is Burns night. Robbie Burns. What a beautiful poet and a singer. You have to admire a country that honors its musicians and its storytellers above the lords and ladies. Well, as it's getting dark and towards the witching hour, I would like to share with you a tale. I will be reading this and scrolling down, so forgive me the little interruptions. Oh, interruptions. The musicians, they always tune up before they play. I'll get my two fingers. I like to tune up too. This is called Tam O'Shanter. It's by Rabbie Burns. When Chapman Billies leave the street and Ruthie Neighbors meet, as market days are wearing late and folk begin to tack the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy and getting food and unco happy, we think now on the long Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps, and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her rat to keep her warm. 'Tis truth, fond honest Tam O'Shanter, as he frae air as night did canter. Old air, when air ne'er so town surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. O Tam, hadst thou but been sae wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she told thee weel thou was a skellum, and blethering, blustering, drunken blellum, that frae November till October, as market day thou was nae sober. That like a miller, thou sat as long as thou had siller, and every nag was Kate a shoe on, the smith and Guy had thought roaring foo on. And at the Lord's house e'en on a Sunday, thou drank with Curtin Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon thou would be found deep droon in the Doon, or catched with warlocks in the murk by Holloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me greet to think how many counsels sweet, how many lengthened sage advices the husband from the wife despises. But to our tale. Market night. Tam had got planted unco right. Fast by the ingle blazing finely, with Reman swats a drank divinely. At his elbow, Suitor Johnny, his ancient trusty Druthy croony. Tam loved him like a vera brother. He'd been four weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and the ale was going better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favour sweet, secret, and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories. The landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm without might rare and rustle. Tam didna mind the storm a whistle. Cared not to see a man sae happy, even drooning himself among the sanappy. As bees with hame, with ladies a treasure, the minutes wang their way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious. The ills of life, victorious. But pleasures are like a poppy spread. Thou seest a flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snowfalls in the river, a moment white, then melt forever. Or like the borealis race, that flit ere thou can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, vanishing amidst the storm. Nae man can tether time nor tide. The hour approaches, Tam maun ride. That hour night's black arch the keystone, the dreary hour he mounts his beastin', and sick a night he takes the road in, and ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twad blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, and speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep, and lang the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand the devil had business in his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, ne'er better lifted a leg. Tam sculpit on through the dub and mire, despising wind, rain, and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, whilst glottering round with prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where ghaists and ghoulies nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where the snaw the chapman smored, and past the birks and maky stone, when drunken Charlie brake neck bane, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mither hanged herself. Before him Doon pours all his floods, the Dublin storm rose through the woods, the lightnings flash from pole to pole, and near and more near the thunders roll, when glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a bleeze. Through Ilkabore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers can thou makest us scorn? With Tippany we fear nae evil, with Uskibah we face the devil. The swat sailor aimed in Tammy's noddle, fair play he cared, and the devil's a bottle. But Maggie stood right there astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured forward on the light, and thou, Tam saw an unco sight, warlocks and witches in a dance. Nae cotillion brent new from France, nah, hornpipes, jigs, strathspeys, and reels put life and metal in their heels. The Winnick bunker in the east, there sat old Nick in the shape of beast, a towsy tyke, black, grim, and large, to give the music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and get them skirling, till roof and rafters did dirling. Coffins stood round like open presses, that shawed the dead in their last dresses. And by some devilish cantrip sleight, each in his cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the holy table the murderer's bones and gibbet irons were spangling wee unchristened bairns. A thief new cut from the rope, and his last gasp his gap did gape. 5 tomahawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife his father's throat had mangled. Whom his ain son of life bereft, the grey hairs yet stacked of the heft, with mair a horrible and awful, which even to name would be unlawful. As Tammy glowered amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they keeled, then like a carlin swat and reason, they coosed their duties to the wark, and Linnet at it in her sark. Ah, now Tam, oh Tam, had they been queens, a plump and strapping in their teens, their sarks instead of creasy flannin, been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks of mine, my only pair, was aince were plush and good with blue hair. Well, I'd give 'em all off of my legs, for one blink at the bonny's pretty legs. With her beldams old and droll, with woolly wags, hags, wad speen a foal, lopping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder didna stir in my stomach. But Tam ken what was full brawling. There was a wensome wet and Wally, that night enlisted in the corps, lying after Ken on Carrick shore. Ah, for money a beast a dead she shot, and parish money a bony boat. She shook baith meikle corn and bear, and kept the countryside in fear. Her cutty sark a Paisley's horn, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude though scarcely scanty, it was her best, and she was vanity. Ah, little ken thy reverend granny, that sark she cough for her wee nanny. With £2 Scots 'twas all her riches, whatever graced a dance of witches. But here, my muse, her wing must curl, she flicks far beyond her power. To sing how Nanny lapped and flang, a supple jade she was and strang. Ah, how Tam stood like one bewitched, and thought his ain enriched. Even Satan, glowered and fidget to fain, and hotched and blew with might and main. Till first day caper sign another, Tam hint his reason unaw together, and roars out, "Weel done, could ye sark?" And in an instant all was dark. And scarcely had he Maggie railed, when out the hellish legion sailed, as bees bid out with angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their pike, as open pussy's mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when "Catch the thief" resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, with money and eldritch screech and hollow. Ah Tam, they'll get thy farin', in hell they'll roast thee like a herrin'. In vain thy Kate awaits thy comin', Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystone of the bridge. There at them now my tale may toss, a running stream they dare not cross. But ere the keystone she could make, and faint a tail she had to shake, for Nanny, far before the rest, hard upon noble Maggie's pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little wist she Maggie's mettle. He spring oft her master hail, but left behind her own grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now why this tale a truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son take heed. Whenever to drink thou are inclined, or cutty sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys of deer, but remember Tam O'Shanter's mare. To all born on the 25th of January, I bid you honor and good night.